Thank you, Larry.
That's a cool intro.
Thank you.
I like it.
Hi, Kyle. Thank you. I did that with Canva.
Canva's great.
Yes.
I do a lot on Canva and CapCut. And, you know, like when you're editing video on your desk, your chair gets uncomfortable and it's like, man, this sucks.
Yeah.
Well, on Canva and CapCut, I'm just on my phone in bed. Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's just great. I'm not a very techie person, so I have no idea how to do stuff. And Canva's once I got the hang of it, I was like, this is so cool. I could do so many things. This is awesome.
It's really versatile.
Yeah, awesome. So, enough about that. I appreciate the compliment, Larry. I'm assuming that a lot of people that are watching my show know who you guys are. But if not, I'd like to introduce you guys to my guests tonight, Dan Norvell and Larry Eissler, and they do Expedition Entity. But we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. So I'm going to shut up. So these two wonderful men, that do a lot of good stuff for the paranormal community, in the day and age where there's so much drama and grossness going on, I love having the people on that just kind of, their motivation isn't geared mostly towards, the money. You guys still have the passion. You guys still have, the motivation to help the field grow. It's not just for show and TV. It's also you guys are still doing the research and still doing the investigating and still wanting to find answers. It's not just about being plastered on TV. So I love promoting people like that. So without that, you guys can start. I mean, you can introduce yourselves and then kind of just give a little background where you guys come from and then how you guys got together.
Sure.
And everything that's going on with you guys. I love it.
Why don't you go ahead and start, Dan?
No, you're up this time.
All right. Well, I didn't get into the paranormal until kind of late in the game. It was 2009, 2010-ish. I started on a web forum, believe it or not. If nobody knows what that is anymore, it's probably because they don't exist. But it was this place where people would submit evidence on a website, and I'd just be there to debunk it. I'd be like, hey, this is Photoshop and strings and all that stuff. And someone got really upset that I kept doing that to their stuff. And like, you know what? If you don't stop, what are you going to do about it? Come out with us. Come investigating with us. See it in real life, real person. Go hire and investigate.
Right.
All right. So I went to Scott Mansion in Joliet, Illinois. My very first paranormal haunted location, a historic location here in B. Scott, was one of the original patent holders for several strands of barbed wire. It was pretty cool. And a lot of stuff happened. Stuff that I couldn't explain. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe there's something to this. And give or take a few months, this dude here, Dan Norvell, has these public ghost hunt, cemetery crawl type things. And he'd get like 20 or 30 people together and they just hop from cemetery to cemetery and just ghost hunt, always from the edge of the cemetery or the fence line if there's a fence. And after the first time, I just kind of went, hey, we should chat more. And we've been working together for 13 years ever since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So obviously, like, you say you weren't really into the paranormal, but you were like doing this. Were you investigating while you were a part of this website that you were? So you
Nope.
were just kind of you were a skeptic.
A hard skeptic, but I was interested. By 2008, 9, 10, the TV shows had already been out for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I'd watch them and be like, oh, that's really cool. But, I found all these ways.
Hi, Betsy.
Do you remember originally when the ghost apps would be out and people would take pictures and then they'd superimpose the little girl in there?
Yes.
Those were horrible. So many people. Hi, Betsy. So many people tried to pass that off as a real ghost. It's crazy.
Yep. And it's crazy too because even now I get stuff and I'm like, I got a video the other day from somebody and I thought that they were messing with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, what is this? Because it looks and I know this person, they're not in the paranormal at all. They're a family friend. And I thought they were just being funny. And I was like, what? I was like, come on. I was like, that's either bats or it's fake. I was like, what app are you using? He's like, Taryn Hanson, God, it's not fake. Mm-hmm. So I sent it to Kenny Biddle because he's always my go-to with techie stuff because I don't know anything about cameras. He does. He knows about he knows how they work. He knows about different brands of security cameras. This was on a security camera. Mm-hmm. So, he knows about that stuff. So I was like, please look at this and tell me because I don't know what it is or I don't know what could make that. You know what I mean? So,
right.
I still get stuff like that. And I still think like, I did get one, one time where they're like, do you think this is for real? And it was like that app, the one that looks like the Ring Girl.
Yeah.
I said, that's totally fake.
Totally fake.
They would.
I will say some of these fakes are getting a little hard to tell nowadays.
That's true. That's
so many people know how to use these softwares and even the cell phone versions like Canva. You can remove the background really easily.
Yes.
And it does a really good job.
Yeah.
You make it black and white, a little transparent, and now anything can be a ghost.
Right.
On your cell phone.
Yeah. Well, and look at my intro. You saw the girl pop up in the middle of the hallway, went away, the one that was walking through the woods. Obviously it looks fake, but if you worked with it enough, you could.
It could be convincing.
Yes, if you worked with it enough. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially for people that are more enthusiasts, where they just want to watch the videos and be, ooh, that was spooky.
Right.
They're fooled by that stuff a lot of times.
Yep. I say they're the people enthusiasts want the haunted attraction. They want the haunted attraction. They it's fun. They want to be spooked. They want to be scared. They want to hear the ghost stories. But, oh, cool. Thanks.
Hi.
Ajing is from Indonesia, guys. She's checking in from Indonesia.
Wow.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I love to give her. She's one of my longest supporting Brewski fan.
Nice.
She's awesome. She's a very big supporter, and she will like your pages and like you guys and follow you guys and share it out. So Indonesia,
awesome.
Pleasure of seeing you guys as well.
Yeah, that's great.
She's actually a famous actress in Indonesia, and her father.
Oh, so cool.
So she's a musician and all that good stuff. So she's a wonderful person to have in your life. For sure.
Hit us up. Well, if we ever come to Indonesia, we're looking you up.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
for
right.
sure.
I don't know when, but
AI tech would be easy for someone to fake stuff for sure.
Yeah, AI is a whole different topic we can talk about for an entire show.
Yeah, for sure.
Those apps you guys were talking about, I seem to remember Larry and I staying up until like 6 a.m. one time. And that little girl in that specific app, she showed up in a ton of places. And then remember the one with the rain thing that made him look like a cloak.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got lightsabers out, and I was fighting them with a lightsaber and all sorts of stuff just to show that it was fake. They were all fake.
That was funny.
I mean, like investigator to investigator, that stuff has got to be so. It's frustrating to me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's frustrating to me because, we're really investigating, we're really researching, we're really trying to figure it out, and then you just got. I mean, you got people that are just out there with all this stuff and bring stuff to you. And bring stuff, well,
I gotta be honest with you, Taryn. We're so busy, we don't even see a lot of that stuff anymore.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that we do see comes across posts and stuff, get
Yeah.
tagged to be like, hey, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Most of the time, I'm just like, I wasn't there. I can't tell you.
That's kind of my go-to.
That's a good answer.
If I wasn't there, I don't know what the conditions were. I don't know what you were experiencing, what you were feeling, what you were hearing. I'm not going to armchair quarterback anybody.
Right.
Well, and Dan has this saying he says quite often is, I'm not here to make the skeptic a believer or the believer a skeptic.
Absolutely.
I'm just here to show my stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. If you want to believe, you will.
Yeah.
If you don't, I'm not going to waste my breath trying to convince you, because I never will.
Right. True. So true. And that's the thing. Like, I believe in it. I don't think everything is paranormal, but I do believe in it.
Right.
I'm a healthy skeptic. I'm a believer, healthy skeptic. I mean, when I first started, absolutely, I thought everything was paranormal. Yeah. Everything.
Did you hear that creak way over there? That's not the house settling. That's a footstep.
Yeah. I'm like, I was Aaron from Ghost Adventures. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. Everything's ghost, Right. But, I've been doing it since 2004, maybe a little bit before that. So,
longer than me.
2000 is when I got into it. 2004 was when I started investigating, and training and everything. And it took time. It takes time to learn. It takes time. And everything is changing. Everything changes.
So there's always some new device, some new technique. And someone's like, have you tried this technique? And I'm like, the what? The what is it?
Yeah. No, I'm old school.
All right, let's try it. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm all willing for change. I mean, the worst thing you can ever say is this is the way we've always done it.
Yeah. Oh, I love learning, but I'm old school.
Got it.
Cool when it comes to.
I've been doing this since 1996. So
Dan's an OG.
I am an old guy. Been doing this since 96. Really jumped into. Well, to me, it's old guy.
It's original gangsta.
Old guy. So anyway, I jumped into this, full force in 97. And, that's when we had that big VHS recorder with, you put the actual tape in it, and it was, heavy as hell. And what do you think that clarity was, Larry? 240 at best?
It was horrible.
It was terrible. But we did catch our first shadow figure on that particular camera. So.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear. I mean, Larry's seen the tape. It's pretty clear catch.
Yeah. And that's also, and that's the thing I love. I love the people that are bringing back the old stuff, like the recorders with the tape recorders and the Polaroids, the compasses, the baby powder, things that aren't made for ghost hunting. I love the electrician tools, the data things, the smoke, the carbon monoxide detectors, all kinds of stuff that, or doorbells and stuff like that. I that's me. So 96, right? You start doing this. What made you get into it?
I had an experience when I was a kid. And hi, Jenny. I saw a shadow figure, and he was wearing a hat and a drover in my hometown, which my hometown's been around since 1882. Well, it was established in 1882. The first settlement was 1850. Railroad tracks, big railroad town at the time. So I've told the story a million times, but bottom line is I think I witnessed a residual haunt, and this shadow was actually walking into a house that was probably there back in 1882. Mm-hmm. But the shadow kept pace with me and turned. It got to the edge of the building, turned and walked right through the wall. And I was kind of hooked. Now, when I started doing this as Small Town Paranormal in 2009, I was actually set to try to debunk everything because I kind of started not believing. I had caught stuff, I had experienced stuff, but I became so hardcore skeptic. Like I'm not really experiencing this. I've got to be crazy. And even when I met Larry, I was still kind of on the fence until the night I got pulled over a fence, and then the belief all came back really quickly.
I think for both of us, it kind of cemented in the fact that okay, whoa,
Pulled over a fence.
whoa.
So Larry and Marcia and I were at a cemetery that's attached to a church that we refer to as the creepy church. And Marcia and Larry was filming Marcia do a ghost box session. She had one of the old big ones before the SB7s were out and stuff.
Yeah.
Worked really well. So anyway, they're conducting a ghost box session, and Larry's filming Marcia do this, and I'm standing 3 feet from Marcia with my arms draped up over the top of a chain link fence.
Yeah.
And Marcia's getting answers. Larry's getting really intense about filming this, and all of a sudden, something grabs me by the arms, and whoop, over the fence I go. And both Larry and Marcia look at me and go, "What in the F are you doing?" Right. And when we looked back at the tape of it happening to me, I'm pointing to them. There's no way I could pull myself over like that. I just got yanked over.
Right.
And regardless of the fact that it happened, it re-cemented my belief in the paranormal really
it's
quickly.
Almost as if they're like, "Oh, you don't believe in us, huh?"
They sure showed him.
We're gonna give you something.
Yeah. And they did.
Yeah.
What an experience. I mean, were you ever able to connect like maybe what it was or who it was, or did you go back?
I'm pretty sure we connected who it was.
We went back.
We went back.
It was not a good time going back.
No.
I don't remember when it was. It was probably a good year or two later. And this time we were up closer to the building, and Dan wasn't feeling very well. So he kind of hung back by the car. And as Dan's behind us, because we're up by the building and doing a bunch of stuff, he's just getting progressively worse the closer we get to the building. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there taking pictures, and it was a white flash camera. So, you could see it with your eye. And I'm taking a picture of this giant window in the church. And when I snapped it, there were 2 people standing in the window. And I was like, "Oh, we got to go. We got to go." So we book it out of there. And as we get further away, Dan starts feeling better. And I'm flipping through the camera, and I finally find the picture that I took. It was the last one. And there's 2 people standing in the window, but they're see-through, and you can only make out the faint outline of them.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like,
that's awesome.
Well, that was awesome. Unfortunately, Dan ended up getting an attachment that night.
Oh.
And then
so you saw them when you took the picture?
Yep, in the flash.
So you saw them, and you thought it was 2 people there, so you're like, "Oh, yep. My God, we got to go. We're going to get in trouble."
Right.
You thought maybe it was like people there that, I gotcha. And
well, it's an active church, so there is, what is it, Dan?
Right.
A priest?
Yeah, a pastor at that one.
So there's a pastor that lives on the premises. Maybe they saw the camera flashes and they were looking out the window, something.
Yeah.
But if they were a full-bodied person, they would appear full-bodied in the picture.
Yeah.
But they didn't. So, right. So yeah, then Dan ended up getting an attachment from that night, and it just wreaked havoc on his family for months.
Now, did you guys go to the church about it?
No.
Not that one.
No. Okay. Did you go to them and show them what you guys captured, or no? Nope. Never involved them?
Actually, we didn't go back to that church for probably about 5 or 6 years.
Oh, wow.
In all honesty, I don't think Larry's really ever been back there. I've been back there by myself twice.
No, yeah, I haven't.
actually walked into the grave. Sometimes, Taryn, you just gotta man the F up and face your fears. And not that I was really scared. What everybody needs to realize is that when you have families, just because you think this is cool and you signed up for this, they didn't.
Right.
And when you bring that shit home and it starts terrorizing them,
absolutely,
remember, they didn't sign up for that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
Standing in a doorway, blocking out the light.
Yeah. My daughter was absolutely terrified. And,
it's true. A lot of people that get into this and they're these enthusiasts and they run around and they're faking stuff and they're doing all this kind of stuff and they're running around these, they don't, and they're showing people that, might be interested in doing this or, that was one thing why I started my show is because, my nieces and nephews are starting to get into stuff like, watching the shows and, they're 14 years old. I don't want them watching things where people are going places and saying, throw something at me, do something, the chances of a demon, whatever, but there's negative stuff out there. There's stuff that, there's other things out there that aren't so nice all the time.
Well, Dan, do you want to talk a little bit about that one attachment on that young boy and what the spirit was saying and doing?
Yeah. So we dealt with a case that we don't publicize a whole lot, but this seems like a great place to talk about it. So I got a call from a lady one time and her 13-year-old, I think he was 14. I don't know. It was 13 or 14. But she gave me a call and she said, I would like you to come and see my son and check out the house and stuff. He's hearing voices. Well, from my years as a paramedic, I know that your early teen years, that's when schizophrenia can make an appearance.
Sure.
So I'm thinking, okay, this kid may be schizophrenic.
Sure.
So I go and meet with him. The kid looks like he has heart disease. He was very, very ashen gray. He hadn't slept in weeks. Mm-hmm. And, his mom was doing all the talking for him. And I said to her, ma'am, can you please just leave the room and let me talk to him? I want to hear what he has to say. So through that, come to find out, he and his buddies were playing with a Ouija board in the basement of a house that was known to have activity. And he got an attachment. And the thing is that I was kind of on the cusp. Okay, this may just be coincidental,
right?
But I told the mom I want to see his room, so I walked in there, and then I let her know. I put a voice recorder in there,
right?
But he didn't know that,
right?
So if he was schizophrenic, I shouldn't be hearing his voices, but lo and behold, I did. And it was a voice of another male child saying, come be with me. It's very easy. Take your own life, things like that. So, everybody right away is, oh my God, it's demonic.
Or
no, it wasn't demonic.
Right.
So I was able to, and we don't even have enough time to go into detail. I actually wrote a big, long blog about it, and we long since have gotten rid of the website, so I can't even direct you there.
I have it.
Do you? Yeah, it's a 3-part blog. Maybe it's time to put that back out.
You keep talking. I'll see if I can have it.
So anyway, I was able to get it off of him, and some of the stuff, it was like 3 days of just wild shit.
Yeah.
Things that if I hadn't experienced it, I wouldn't believe it.
Right.
This one was kind of on me. Larry, I talked to Larry about it when it was going on, but it was kind of, I was chosen to do this, so I did it. And to say the least, was one of the strangest experiences that I've ever had.
Yeah. And dealing with kids, it's like another level. Like private houses are different than haunted locations for sure. But then when
Right.
you have a private case where it's more geared, where the activity is geared towards a child, those cases are extremely, more sensitive and difficult, and how you handle it, you have to be careful, and a lot of people don't understand that either.
Well, it ended up that it was the spirit of another child
Mhm.
that had, I believe, died of cancer and was lonely wherever they were and wanted to talk this kid into
Coming
killing
with them.
himself and coming and be with me. I'm lonely here.
Yeah.
And I ultimately ended up having to do a binding on the spirit, which was horrible because,
Child's
my friend Sandy, if she was here, she could tell you I struggled with this because you just said it. It's a child. I don't want to bind a child. And I gave him ample opportunity. I said, look, you can leave peacefully and go to the light, or I'm going to send you somewhere because this isn't going to happen. I'm not on my watch. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to give up. So I had to bind him. And I did.
The 14-year-old probably couldn't process it this way, but when you think about it, it's kind of like, was it really a 14-year-old kid? Like, was he playing on the heartstrings of you? Like, I'm lonely.
Right.
Like you got to step and think like, this kid, he's come across as a 14-year-old. He's saying how lonely he is. He wants somebody to play with. You're going to feel bad for him. You're like, oh, like, it's okay. Like, so are you really, that he was probably hoping you wouldn't have tried to intervene and do things,
My, and maybe this is the firefighter paramedic coming out, but I'm going to save who I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you had your run, pal, and you're doing this. You're making me do this.
Right.
So whether you're acting like you're a kid or you really were a kid, end result was the same. And, after I got it done, after I did what I had to do and got it all done, the kid looked like 90% better immediately.
Awesome.
He's a fully functioning adult now.
Yeah. I just saw him. He still lives in my hometown, and I just saw him the other day. He's like 26 years old, and he's doing fine.
That's awesome.
Never had an issue since.
Does he remember going through this and like?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. He remembers every detail vividly.
Wow. Now, with stuff like this, now this is interesting. I just want to know. I mean, now does he stay away from paranormal stuff, or is he interested? Is he somebody that like wants to help other kids, or
Nope.
is like, I don't want nothing to
and the Ouija board caused this, but what I want to say is, it's not the Ouija board in of itself that caused this.
Right.
They would have got the same thing happen whether they had an SB7, a Ouija board, whether they were playing, what's the game where you look in the mirror and
Bloody Mary, whatever.
Bloody Mary, the end result was going to be the same. So it wasn't because they were playing with a Ouija board. It was because they were doing something that they didn't fully know what the hell they were doing, and it bit them.
And its intention, their intentions were to do that, whether or not they knew what they were doing was good or bad, or they knew what they were doing.
I'm sure they were looking to get scared.
Yeah.
Sure.
They didn't realize, again, and that's the thing. My nieces and nephews, I'm like, if you have any questions, you come to me. Don't watch that shit on TV. Don't watch the shit on YouTube. Yep. Not all of it, anyway. You know what I mean? Because I don't want them doing those things. I don't want them grabbing a flashlight, running around in a cemetery and saying the things that they see on TV, thinking that they're going to come home and go to sleep at night without any issues. Now, they might, but they might not.
Right. My 15-year-old is getting interested in it. I've taken him one time. I took him to Brodhead Manor. So that's a really good place to bring a kid. The spirits there are great. The ones that are not so great for kids, I kind of
don't take them down there.
I don't take him where the janitor's at, and I don't take him by the principal. All the rest of the kids that are there, they're perfectly fine. He had a great time. He's been begging me for months to go back, it sounds like I'm finally bringing him back here in the next couple weeks. But other than Brodhead Manor,
Hello.
the Vets Hall, Tinker Swiss Cottage, Freeport, I'd take him to Freeport. It's a short list.
Yeah.
There's so many places where he's like, we should go here. No. You're going to go where I know you're safe. And then when you're 18, you can figure it out yourself.
Yeah. Now, are you kind of, if you want to get into this and eventually do this with you, would you be okay with that? Like if you guys get together?
He hasn't expressed interest that far yet. He just thinks it's cool. The last time we went with 2 of his friends, I think, 2 or 3 of his friends, and they had a blast.
That's awesome.
The first hour or 2, I kind of led them, showed them what I did with what I brought with me. And then the last hour I said, go have fun.
Yeah.
Stay in this area of the building. And they had a great time. They really enjoyed it. They were hearing things and they were getting names and they were like, Bill, what is this name? Who is this? Is this a real name? It was awesome. But as for, you should go.
Yeah. It's on my bucket.
You should go. It's a weird building because it's so extremely active. There's so many spirits there. You would think it's like heavy and kind of like, whoa, there's a lot going on, but it doesn't feel that way. It's very light and airy, even though there's probably 7 spirits buzzing around you.
Yeah.
At all times.
Yeah.
Now, if you go into the janitor's section by the boilers, it does get a little dank over there. He has his personality from when he was alive. He brought it with him in the afterlife, but everywhere else is not too bad.
Now, do you guys not believe, and this is just, an opinion or a theory or whatever, but do you not believe that the janitor could go to other places within the building, or do you think he's just confined to this area?
He does go other places. It seems like he's confined to the older part of the building. So it could be related to when he was alive and it was only that part of the building was there, or he just only goes there. I know from numerous investigations and talk with different people, it doesn't seem like the principal and the janitor interact much at all. So the principal mostly stays on the 2nd floor. The janitor is mostly on the 1st. What that means, I don't know. But
different time eras.
What's that?
Do you think they're different time eras? So they maybe don't. Maybe the spirit world is interdimensional. You know what I mean? And it goes by, the time era. So if you're in, the Victorian era, you can't talk to anybody that's in like the millennia era or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like just to give an example, maybe. I
have no clue. We've talked to like, for example, I was at the Great Lakes Paracon and went to Sheboygan Asylum, which has got a lot going on, an absolute ton of stuff going on. We were able to talk with nurses from the 40s and nurses from the 90s at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So maybe they can and others can't. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I don't know what dictates whether or not they can speak or not. I don't know.
So you guys get together, when you guys start doing this stuff together. Now, Dan, did you have a process to join your group? Did he have to join the group, or you guys just kind of just started doing this?
I think Larry and I have probably investigated more stuff than me and any group ever did. Just seemed like we were it. Now in saying that caused animosity with some of the team members. Why are you spending all this time doing this with this guy when you have a team? Well, because the team can't go out like this guy can, and
I was
do
very
what we
available.
need to do.
I was ready and willing.
And I'm not saying anything. It's just, at the time, my job wasn't as demanding as it is now.
Right.
And I worked nights. So, on my days off and stuff, midweek when Larry didn't have anything going on and stuff, we're out in haunted cemeteries and haunted houses and, you name it, we were there.
That's awesome. I wish I could do that.
I can't really do it anymore.
No, I can't either.
Back when we first started doing this, I just got home from my deployment, so I wasn't really doing a whole bunch. The job that I had prior. Oh, thank you for the support.
Dan. Paramedics and all. I mean, thank you so much.
I didn't have a job anymore. They had kind of terminated the position and moved a bunch of things around, so I was kind of not doing anything. Went back to school for a little while, did that, and kind of just didn't find my place after my deployment, which meant that I had a lot of free time. And I think it took me until 2019 to find my place, which means from 2010 to 2019, I had a whole bunch of time to hang out with this guy.
That's awesome.
So
awesome. I mean, and it's great because you guys are still doing stuff together. You guys are still doing some awesome things together. Yeah. So let's talk about Expedition Entity. How'd you guys come up with that? Like, what is it? What's your goal, future?
Well, Dan's the show creator, so this is kind of his baby.
So Larry and I, we took a little hiatus from this. In about 2011, I had gotten tired with the Team BS, the drama.
It was about 2014.
Yeah, and Larry had just kind of dropped from the face of the earth for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And I, during that time, I think I probably only talked to Larry 3 or 4 times. Just, hey, how you doing, dude? Hit me up sometime if you want, blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't really doing a whole lot either. And I jumped back in and, lo and behold, a couple months later, he calls me and says, hey, what are you up to? Nothing. Let's go hunt ghosts. All right. So we went back out, and over a couple months, we started, remembering how much we really loved this. And I hit him up and I said, hey, you still do pretty good editing and stuff. What do you think about doing a show? We'll call it Expedition Entity, and we will feature...
Hold on. No. What's the full name?
Expedition Entity Pursuing the Paranormal. I don't know why did you let me put these long fucking names on shit? Anyway, yeah, like the Ghosthunter Dan Norvell Project.
The Alan Parsons Project.
Alan Parsons. So anyway, he said, yeah, let's do it. So we went out and we shot our first episode in Kent, Illinois at one of the Black Hawk War sites. And 2015. No, it was 2013.
No, 15.
Was it?
Yep.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, anyway,
yep.
A long time ago, we went and we shot that first episode. And it was cold. It was a daytime investigation. And in the winter. And I remember that big ass snowdrift we had to hike through to get all of our stuff up there. Yeah, we couldn't park up near where we needed to be. We had to park down and then hike up.
Oh, wow.
And anyway, the only thing we caught was, to Larry, when he listened to it, it sounded like something being said in Sauk. When I listened to it, I said, if you're here with us, can you tell us where you're from? And I distinctly hear Kent, which it is an unincorporated Kent.
Right.
So that's what I heard. He heard something different, which we all do. Mm-hmm. It kind of hooked us. And we've been shooting different iterations of Expedition Entity between that time and where we're at now, of course. The only thing,
third iteration.
The only thing that hasn't changed is the name, but the quality, the way we do things, the way, the thing is, and I do appreciate all the kind words at the beginning, Taryn, because I do appreciate that. However, we're more filmmakers and producers now than we are investigators because it takes a lot to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
And, and then Larry has to go through all that stuff. I'm of no help whatsoever because, number one, I live an hour away from him. And number two, you don't want me editing shit on a computer because it ain't going to look like what it does when he does it. Right. So, but he went to, Larry has a degree in that. It should look great. And it does. It does. It's, everything that we've done to bring the show where it is now has been to make it to where it is now. And, just like the different ways we approach investigations.
Absolutely.
I'm up for anything. I will try any kind of new method, whatever. It doesn't bother me. Like I said, change is good. But we've thrown a few things like in our Roadhouse episode from season 3. We do the Estes method, but Jen's holding up cards and not saying anything.
Right.
And lo and behold,
that's awesome.
I'm blindfolded and ear muffed and everything else facing away from her, but I'm calling out the cards.
That was pretty neat. I'm not gonna lie.
It was really cool.
How does somebody argue that?
It actually got kind of funny at the end because the spirit that was talking through Dan, I guess you could say, they kind of got annoyed with Dan, or I guess annoyed with all of us, and they're like, done, stop. And then all of a sudden he goes 3, which is the card, and then they goes done. Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
They were done with us, but it was weird. It was interesting. I'm sitting there behind the camera going, what the hell am I watching?
Well, and everybody does the Estes pretty much with SB7. Larry and I have tried it with a Phasma box, and he was the guinea pig, and he got some great stuff.
Do you want me to share this?
Sure. This is the newest trailer that isn't even released yet.
Oh, yay! It's an exclusive.
So if you had to name a couple spots within the temple that are going to be heavy hitters for us, what would you choose?
The stage?
Yeah. Is there anything going on around me in the thermal?
There's more cold area around you than there is Sierra, and it's like both sides. So the question was, are any of you that are here Masons?
It's incredible what we get on the stage.
Could you all go to Sierra right now?
Now Sierra's getting it on that side of her, the left side, her left side.
It moved across me. Earlier you were able to turn them completely off. Could you try and do that again?
Look at this.
This is so cool. And Stevie, you're catching this, right? There is no electricity going to the stage on the floor. We scanned it. We ran both K2s over it. It did not light up. When we were getting answers to questions, it was directly answering you and I.
Yeah.
Nobody has seen that except for me and Dan.
And now me and my brewskis.
Everyone on the show, including Sierra, if she's still here.
Sierra hasn't even seen it yet.
Nope. Now she did. I want to point out one thing, though. That little shot of Dan and Sierra in the stage during the interview.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. The camera looks so good. I'm so happy we spent the money to get a good camera because that's where it shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, that is good. She said, I'm here. She said she's still here.
So this was when Sierra was just the guest investigator. She wasn't even part of the show yet. So her debut is technically a little early, but I gotta say that the first time that we investigated with Sierra, she blew us away, and that's exactly the reason she's part of the cast now.
Oh yeah. I mean, once you find people that you can click with, and that they have the same goals, the same motivations, the same you know, they're in the same headspace as you. You know, you got to kind of just stick with that. You know, you
Yeah.
can't just throw a team together and expect it to work. You know, you
No.
got to find people that
No.
you're like minded with, and we all. Everybody says, "Oh, we're all like minded," but we're not really.
No.
I mean, we're not. So you need to find those people that are like minded, and you got to stick with them.
Well,
know?
and everybody also kind of has a role.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to have clear defined roles. And Dan and I, you know, we've been working together for so long. We know our roles. Steve has been working with us just as long.
I've
Steve
known
was
Steve
actually
long.
working than go ahead.
I've known Steve longer than I've known Larry.
Right.
Steve was at the
So-
very Small Town Paranormal cemetery crawl that I ever did.
Oh, you're freezing up, Daniel.
Yeah, sorry.
So the three of us, we work together very well. I know if I give Steve a camera and I say, hey, you're going to focus on Dan and Sierra, just kind of, you know, hit the middle between them. He gives me the exact shot I need every time.
That's awesome.
Or if I'll be like, hey, rotate this way and get the lights that are flickering. You can see Steve go whoop, and get the exact shot that we need, because those lights were going nuts.
Yeah.
And these are stage lights. We're talking, you know, a control panel bigger than my desk. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to use it. There was
nobody
but
was
the four of
sitting
us.
there.
Yeah, nobody
and
right there.
And throughout the episode, throughout the whole session, if you look in the edges of the frame, you can see the lights doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Sierra's like, can you turn the lights off? Boom. So
The lights we didn't have access to.
Yes.
Or yes, yeah, we didn't have access to them.
We did not have access to them.
So the fact that, you know, now they're turning off and now the spirits are flickering them to bright off, bright off, bright. It was wild.
Wow.
It was wild.
It.
But I know Steve, if he sees something like that, he's going to go, oh, I got to get this. He wants this.
Right.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Well, with Sierra and Paige now, that gives me people in front of the camera that know what they're doing. I can be the Spielberg of editing. If nothing is happening in front of the camera, I am completely useless.
Right.
So he's got to hit his marks. He's got to know, you know, we got to use this piece of equipment in this room because of, you know, this spirit likes to use the dowsing rods for some reason. You know, that's why he's the lead investigator. When he says, okay, we're going to do this session in this room with these people, that's what we do. Right. And, you know, he plans all that. He runs everything. He puts the people in their places. And all I do is just press record and magic happens.
Do you guys have a process who to where you go for the show? Like, do you guys research the locations? Do you interview the owners? Do you try to see if there's other videos out there of people that have already been there? I mean, like, the history of the place, you know, is there a certain criteria that you look for in a place to go to shoot the show?
There's three criteria mainly for the show. Number one is lesser known. Anyone can go and pay $1,000 to go spend the night in Waverly, but everybody knows the spirits. They know the history. It's already been out there. But the Freeport Masonic Temple that we now have a double episode in because so much happened, not many people know about that. But it's a cool place that we could share and other teams could go, I need to check this place out.
Right.
And we were able to share that.
Because it's cool.
Right. Yeah. Bill Walter gives us a lot of credit for helping bring the paranormal to Brodhead because of our 2 episodes.
Right.
I don't know how true it is, but you know, he's got a great place and people really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Another criteria is, you know, it's got to have some kind of history. You know, a working Masonic temple that was built over 100 years ago, that's the size of a city block and has a dozen hot spots to investigate. That's pretty cool. Not only that, but a chunk of the building's footprint used to be an undertaker. It used to have a hotel and a bunch of this other really cool stuff. Yeah, that's the history. I love that stuff.
Me too. I love that. I love places that have meaty history. Like they just have layers upon layers of documented and validated history. You know?
There's a place we're looking at for next season. I'm not going to say too much. They have a lot of different locations, but one of them is an outdoor jail cell, which is completely like left field for what this location is. Like, it does not belong there, yet there it is.
Yeah.
Why is there a jail cell? Okay, what's the history on the jail cell?
Outside too.
Outside of all places.
Probably
So
to lock the correctional officer into.
Yeah. So, you've got that. And then the third one, which I'm drawing a blank. What was the third one, Dan? I can't remember.
The third criteria?
Yeah. I was thinking about something else, and then
you got lesser well known.
Lesser well known. Some kind of historical tie. Oh, it's gone. Crap.
Now you got me drawing a blank. Thanks.
Well, those are the big two, I guess. Because I
Yeah.
cannot remember the third one.
Yeah.
But we also like incorporating guest investigators.
Yeah.
So, for example, when we did Sledgehammers in season 2, that was a bar in Oregon, Illinois, and we knew that our friend Steve Bartel from Bartel and Henson Paranormal and Counter Ghost Tours, they've investigated before. So we said, hey, come back with us. And
Steve did.
And he did. When they investigated it in the silo, in the basement, the building's attached to an old 1800s farm silo. In the silo, they got over the SB7 mommy, a young child saying mommy. Mm-hmm. When he came back with us several years later to film our episode, we got the same exact thing.
Only ours was disembodied.
It was disembodied, but he was there to say, that was mommy.
He goes, that was mommy. That was exactly the way we heard it.
Wow. So, but we can now tie those two investigations together because the same investigator was there.
Right. So he can validate what he heard then, what he's hearing now.
And
right.
We love working with other people. I mean, to bring our friend Stephen Josiah in and Sierra, she just clicked so well with us. I mean, she's now part of what we do, but it was so cool to just investigate with her and have her to be part of the show. And that's, Larry and I have always kind of, I don't think we're famous or we've got our 15 minutes of fame or anything, but we've always kind of tried to, hey, let's share the wealth with all these investigators who are never going to be on Ghost Hunters or anything like that.
Right.
We have a TV show. We have a great network. We have a great CEO with Natalie Jones. And she just says, guys, you do what you want and just keep the magic coming and we'll put it out. And that's what we're doing. So
yeah,
awesome.
She'll text me and all of a sudden be like, hey, you're going to that conference. Can you go live? Sure. And then she just makes me an admin on PARAFlix. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. But what network is going to give just a random schmo like me access to their social media?
Right.
She really trusts what we do, and we try to deliver as much as we can. That weekend when we were at Great Lakes, the reception was next to nothing, so the lives weren't fantastic, but it was still cool to be able to bring that conference to people from around the country. They couldn't get there.
Right. Absolutely. That's what I love that. I'll just go live driving through Gettysburg.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Just because there's so many people that don't get to go there.
I'm gonna go one day. It's on the list. I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go there.
Well, if you guys go, I will meet you and take you to all the non-hot spots that are hot spots to me.
Done.
And all the hot spots.
One of the coolest things that Larry and I got to do over the summer is go and visit, one of our locations we've always wanted to be at with Paige and then our friend Diet, and that was Bad Axe, where the Bad Axe massacre happened.
Yeah.
And for me, it was very surreal.
Yeah.
To realize what happened there. And, Larry and I have written a book on the subject. The Black Hawk War is the forgotten war. And to be where, you want to talk atrocities against the Native Americans. Well, that was it.
Right.
And, to be there on that land, knowing what Larry and I know, happened there. It was very surreal for me.
Native American spirit activity, tends you have to treat that very delicate, because they're so in. There's, I feel like that energy is just so connected with the land and so connected with
Yes.
the energy in the air and the nature and everything like that. Like
Yeah.
you piss them off. Like I'd rather piss a demon off before a Native American spirit,
Yeah.
because
You
that's
know-
Usually you have to make some kind of an offering, plant a little
Absolutely.
something. Where we were
Hi,
at,
Jamie Lynn.
it just wasn't possible. It was somebody else's property. Probably
Right.
shouldn't be digging holes in it and planting trees.
Right.
But I would really like to. Hi, Jamie Lynn. Sorry. I'd really like to one day do something, but maybe on our return trip.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of Hinsdale. You go to Hinsdale. I don't know if you guys have been there yet, but
Dan's work prevents us from going to a lot of places.
My work's prevented me from a lot this weekend, and hence the reason I'm in a crappy mood.
He can't go to the conference at Rock Island this weekend.
oh no.
So I have to give
Nor-
the presentation, and he can't see Natalie and all this other stuff.
Nor can I go to my son's senior homecoming football game
Oh,
because I got ordered in. So yeah, that's the life of a corrections officer, you guys. I mean,
hey, there's another one here. Wesley, he's a correction.
There's been filming days where
Hey,
we're
Wes.
doing an investigation, and Dan's like, guys, I gotta leave. We're right in the middle of investigating. I gotta go. Okay, all right. We'll pack up. Luckily, it hasn't happened with the new show. It happened with the old show, but it's a inevitability. It could happen at any time.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Jamie said she'll miss you there, Dan, but you will be with us in heart always.
my plan, Jamie Lynn,
Like
was to
Dan
drive
died or
down
something.
Saturday. My daughter and I, she's coming home from Minnesota. And we were going to drive down for a couple hours, say hi to Natalie and stuff. And now that I have to work a 12-hour shift the night before, there's no way. I can't make a 2.5 hour drive on top of
2.5
no
hours
sleep.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's rough. That's
What?
rough.
I don't want to say this because it's kind of I hate asking people this. I don't want to say what was your favorite place to go to where you guys were at, and a place that you guys love so much, because I'm sure every place you've gone, you've gotten something from, and it's left you've taken a piece of it, with you. But what would you say would be like? I don't know. I don't want to say favorite place, but
It's pretty easy for me.
oh, okay, good.
Good.
My favorite place, and I go back there often, is the Battleground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Captain Adams, we've
where's that
established
located?
since Stillman Valley, Illinois, that was the first skirmish of the Black Hawk War. And Captain Adams has established kind of a kinship with us, and he will show up at pretty much any investigation that we're at and start talking to us and have our back.
That's awesome.
While my daughter and I crossed him out of there. So,
Plus 8 of his fellow soldiers, I believe, you crossed too. I think there's a handful left.
There's still 3 there, and there's some Sauk warriors stuck there. But
yeah,
I'm working on it. I'm trying to get them all out of there. But come to find out, so traveled over there, took my really good friend Jay Hill, who
I love Jay.
Jay is
Jay's
awesome.
I love
Jay's
Jay.
just, I've only hung out with Jay once, no, twice, but I've talked to him, and to be able to take Jay to some place that's so special to me was really cool. Well, Jay enlightened me to why I have such a kinship with Captain Adams. And through some research and talking to my father and everything, where Captain Adams is from, down in southern Illinois, is where my dad's family hails from.
Wow.
And my dad's great-great-great-grandmother was named Adams. And Jay said that's because Captain Adams is your grandfather down along the line.
Wow.
And Larry and I have confirmed that through, dowsing rods. And there is a book that was made that I'm trying to get my hot little hands on of my whole family lineage. And I'm hoping that it
Awesome.
shows that. But yeah, I go cross a spirit and then ends up being, I'm a descendant of his.
Yeah,
Right.
it's crazy how you get drawn to places and then you find out that there is a connection there. I'm trying to still find my connection to Gettysburg. Other than I found out one of my great grandfathers died of a massive heart attack on Big Round Top, and in the 70s. And there is somebody buried in the Evergreen Cemetery with a hyphenated last name, and my last name being part of that hyphen.
Yeah.
But I still can't find that connection or whatever. But, Pennhurst, for some reason before I went there, I had to draw there. I was like, why am I drawing there? Why am I drawing there? I finally get to go there, and I had a great time. And maybe 6 months to 8 months later, through 23andMe, I connected with some cousins I have in Georgia and some family members. And I went on a radio show, and I was talking about Pennhurst, and one of my newly found cousins messaged me and said, you went to Pennhurst? Well, we had a cousin that was a resident there until he was 18. And I said, really? Like, yeah. And I had no idea. He was moved from Pennhurst he didn't die at Pennhurst, but he was still there, and some of the experiences I had there kind of correlated with his experience that he had there. So it was just interesting to see, oh, okay, that must be why I'm so drawn to Pennhurst, but I think that's cool that you find out that history and be able to connect it. What about you, Larry?
That's a tough one. Brodhead Manor is pretty high up there. I didn't have to look this time. Brodhead Manor, I'm getting better. It's pretty high up there. I know whenever Bill's not busy, and if I can get in to investigate, it's going to be a great time. Every time it's going to be a great time. Freeport is now on that list, a great time. But even though we don't always get activity at this third location, I'm going to say it's the one that I'm the most drawn to because it's the Veterans Memorial Hall in Rockford, and I'm a veteran.
Right.
I did community service there. I've worked with Scott on a lot of different events. I'm going there Veterans Day for a quilt ceremony. Mm-hmm. I'm getting a big fancy quilt. That's kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah. Awesome.
But it's cool stuff. I just like being in the building even without investigating it.
Right.
So
I love that. I love those places.
Well, it's a building that is made for the veterans. So it's not a history museum, it's a veterans museum.
Right. Absolutely, Wes.
It's not like it's dedicated to the Korean War, World War II. It's all wars, but it highlights specific people. Mm-hmm. So in one display, you'll get the uniform, the medals, letters of all from one officer.
Oh, that's cool.
And all these artifacts from his family, he passed or he donated them. And it kind of just explains his whole military history. It's really neat. Awesome. They also have something really cool. They have a copy of Lincoln's death mask.
Ooh.
So
and his hands.
His head was shaved, and it's his face. And then they did his hands too, but they couldn't keep his hand open, so they stuck a broom in his hand, and then they plastered over the broom. So now there's a little nub sticking out of his hand. It's pretty fun to watch.
Lincoln nub.
Right,
Larry, I just got to jump in here. The coolest thing about the Vets Hall, well, I don't know if you were going there or not, but they have a lot of artifacts from Camp Grant. And Camp Grant was where the present Rockford Airport sits. Right. And what people don't realize is that if you were going to World War I, you were going through Camp Grant. You were coming to Rockford, Illinois to do your training and then ship out.
Camp Grant was kind of
France.
like the Great Lakes Naval Base back then.
Yes.
If you're in the Navy, you're pretty much going to Great
Going to
Lakes.
Great Lakes.
Right,
Everyone's going there.
I love that. I love military history. I love history, period, but I love military history.
Mhm.
So I love going to like military museums where, you know, and all that stuff. I love all that.
I got a cool story for you then.
So
Camp Grant, Spanish influenza came and wiped out a lot of soldiers. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them in a pretty quick amount of time. So much so that they had problems processing them and getting them sent off to wherever they had to go. So what they did was they had to find space to lay these bodies out. Darren, what's up?
Hey, Darren.
And so what they did was down the train track line, the Tinkers had a garden that they sold to the rail line. So they laid out all of these bodies that they could in Tinker's gardens. And they sat there for a little while, you know, coming in and out. Come to find out, you know, the Tinker Swiss Cottage in Rockford is incredibly haunted on its own. But outside of the cottage, across the creek, in this area where these bodies were held, there are now the spirits of these Camp Grant soldiers still there.
oh wow.
So we were there one night. It's probably a December night. It was really cold. And we were doing the SB7 and we were asking questions. And then one of us goes something along the lines of, you know, how did you die? Was it and before they could finish the question over the SB7, it went Spanish flu.
Oh, wow.
And then we were all just standing there like,
it was incredible.
Wow.
Huh? What did I say? Did I say Spanish flu?
That's cool.
And we were fortunate enough to be able to get it into our latest Tinker episode.
That's awesome.
Which
I'm not normally a fan of the spirit boxes and stuff like that, but when you get stuff like that, which is few and far between, like when you get specific, you know, stuff that's, you know, tied either to the location or tied to a person there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you argue that? Like, that's not just going to come over the radio somewhere.
Right.
Nowhere. I mean, could it be a coincidence? Maybe. It's a stretch.
Sure.
It's like,
one of the coolest places, and it's not really paranormal, but I'm sure Larry and I could probably get activity there if we wanted to. So it's now a park, and it's called Atwood Park. Oh. Well, that used to be part of the shell range during the war where they would play war games. And I took Larry there. I was like, dude, you got to see this. So we pull into the park and you come in and there's these signs, Taryn, and it says, if you come up on unexploded ordnance, and it has several pictures, immediately call Rockford Fire Department.
Oh, wow.
And the state police and step the frick away.
Yeah.
Also in that part of the park, remember, Larry, when we went to that big long line of bunkers, they've got these cement bunkers that are still in the ground to where when they were lobbing from the one side of the river, that's where the soldiers would hide, and then they would come out and return fire.
Wow.
So that's all part of that Camp Grant history. And I don't know if it's haunted out there or not, but it sure as hell is cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like when you find locations that are just so meaty in history, you know, just being in the place is cool. And if you have a paranormal experience, bonus.
Ronald, what's going on, buddy?
A huge bonus, you know?
Absolutely.
So what do you guys got coming up?
Season 3 is coming to an end. I mentioned it earlier. The Freeport Masonic Temple was so big and we investigated for so long that it was impossible to fit 17 or 18 different individual sessions into one episode.
Oh, wow.
There was just so much happening. So we decided to split it up and make it into 2 episodes, and they both come out the weekend before Halloween.
Yay!
So we got Friday the 27th, which was what was listed in the video you shared. The 27th.
Yep.
And then episode 2 for the temple will come out the 28th. And then usually what Dan and I will do is we'll pop on live the Sunday after an episode comes out, and we'll just kind of talk a little bit about it.
Talk about the highlights.
things that happened, things that didn't make the tapings, stories and stuff like that. And that's kind of the plan right now.
That's got to be tough though, right? When you get stuff so cool and good and fun and exciting, you like want to talk about it, but you can't yet. It's like
it's rough. It's rough.
You can finally let it out. You're like, thank God.
For everything
it's especially
that makes
tough though, because I have to plan what's in the trailer, and it's like,
Right.
what can I put in here that doesn't give too much away?
Right.
But for every scene
But
that you
enough to
see,
tease.
for every scene that you see in the teasers and in the episodes, there's 7 that didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
But we shot them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Every episode we do at minimum 10. Sometimes we get up to 12 depending on how things are going. And in an episode, if you do 10-minute sessions, there ain't enough time.
Right.
So you got to pick your best ones. And
but you know what? Maybe one time you can have like a special edition episode, where you show some of the behind the scenes stuff that didn't make the cuts that everybody saw.
Well, Larry and I have a Patreon for that, and we never utilize it.
Listen, I'm only one man. I can only
He's got a lot of stuff going on.
I do all the editing. I do all the marketing. I can only do so much.
Yeah, but eventually, you know what I mean? Like it could be like a special thing where you guys put all the other stuff up.
Well,
I have every episode we've ever put out. It literally
from
takes
day
up
one
like 30 plus terabytes of space. But I can go back and access every episode and be like, hey, we need to do a laugh track. All right, let's put some funny stuff out. And I'll just go through it all and find it.
That's awesome.
I don't know when I'll ever have time, but one day maybe.
I'm telling you. I mean, I feel like we just keep getting busier and busier,
Well, we do it to ourselves. We have a 6-episode series. This season, a bunch of scheduling things happened. We're only doing 5, but normally it's 6. On top of that, Dan and I also shoot documentaries. So I'm sitting on 3 documentaries that I have to finish. I'm also doing show intros, podcast intros, a sizzle reel. I've got all this other stuff, and it's like, okay, what do I got to do first? Okay, the sizzle reel's got to be out. I have to get the show intro done. I got to get the episode done.
But he's up for hire.
Well, that documentary is going to get bumped back a little further.
He's up for hire.
Yeah. I do stuff. But
how much can a plate hold going up this way if it's already full this way?
I think at this point I've got the 2 sticks and I'm going, and each stick has a plate and then 2 sticks and then a plate and 3 sticks, and it's getting bigger. But
it's interesting, right?
There's changes coming for season 4 where every season we try to do an upgrade, something. So from 1 to 2, we got the drone, and the drone was really cool.
Yeah,
we got a second production camera. We got, I believe that's when we got our first Panasonic IR camera, and then in season 3 we got the new production camera, the Sony that I use, and I'm all over the Sony. We have 2 of the high quality IR cameras now. We got rid of our junky static cams and replaced those with the old IR cameras we used to use. And now for season 4, we've got new toys to play with. We're doing a complete overhaul of the sound. Sound is going to be completely different. We have new microphones that you saw in the trailer, the little clip-on mics that go here.
Yeah.
The sound quality is just amazing. There's no cables. I can monitor sound live as they're going.
No cables is good.
Yeah.
That's
granted,
good.
you got the little thing sticking here, but we're not. This isn't a narrative. We're not trying to hide that. There's a microphone. This is a docuseries. It's okay.
Yeah. What's nice now is if Larry doesn't hear us good enough, because he's listening as he's recording, he can say, step it up. I need to be able to hear you.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he can adjust that.
Which happened in Brodhead while we were doing the interview. I could hear noises going on in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And during the interview, I'm like, is the dog thumping her tail? Are you guys, hitting the arms? Anything? And they're both like, I'm just sitting here locked into my chair.
Well, if you think about it, that's kind of like a real-time EVP type of a
Right.
device.
Right.
Think about it. Yeah.
Well, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the hell is this sound? I go back during the episode and I'm listening to it during editing, and I swear to God, it sounds like a tennis ball. Thunk, 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 thunk.
Interesting.
What
And
the
we
heck is this?
didn't. Bill and I didn't hear it.
No, and
Well,
nobody would do that during
No.
filming or investing.
Well, it was just us.
Yeah.
So, the fact that I could hear that live when it happened also gave me a verbal marker to then go back and find it later.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, I said something there. Let's rewind a little bit and listen here. There it is. Thunk, 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 thunk. Okay, got it.
Out of all the upgrades and everything, I'll have to say the best thing about Expedition Entity now is not shooting 5 episodes in 6 weeks.
Oh, that's a bit of a story. You got time for a longer story?
Yeah.
All right. Season 1, we just talked with Natalie. I had 4 or 5 episodes ready to go.
You had 5 episodes ready to go.
Sent them off to her, and she was ecstatic. We had great stuff. The first one comes out, slam dunk. It was great. Loved it. The second one comes out, and then one of the people in the episode, who I won't go too far into that, didn't want to be in the episode anymore. So instead of talking with us about it, she went and contacted Natalie, the CEO of the network, and said, I don't want to be on this.
Oh,
and
no.
all of the episodes with her and it had to come down.
Oh, no.
So now we're looking at our release schedule, because we release, September, the last 2 weekends, and then the 4 weekends in October. And we're going, what the hell are we going to do?
Wow.
We shot, edited, and released all 5 remaining episodes before Halloween.
Wow.
In
6 weeks.
Just pumping them out. And let me tell you, I was frazzled. I was stressed, overworked, but we did it. We did it. And now we do it to where we have more set-ish release dates. So, for example, our first episode for season 4 will more than likely be the end of January, beginning of February. And then every 2-ish months, a new one comes out. So now we're premiering throughout the whole year.
Right.
That's instead of one chunk
everything
of the year.
within a month and a half.
Yeah. That's cool.
But oh boy, was that a stressful time.
I bet.
Really
And
stressful.
it was just he and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were many episodes where the only way to include myself for the credits is because I had this little clip of me walking through after I helped him set his microphone up, and that's how I made it in. I'm in the B-roll, and that's it. So got to do what you got to do. Now, luckily for me, season 3, I make quite the appearance. But now that we have Sierra and Paige, I'm going to pull back a little bit more and let them kind of take front and center.
You might not see me as much as you normally do either. So
Dan's getting old and tired. He's the old guy.
I am old crotchety guy.
But no matter what, Dan's always got to do his dowsing rods because he's really good at them.
Yeah.
So if I can get a dowsing rod or 2 out of Dan every episode, go away, Dan. You're done.
Maybe doing dowsing rods to talk to my spirit.
Go back to your trailer, Dan. We'll wait for the next scene with you and your dowsing rods.
That's awesome.
Little does he tell you it's a little Buddy L trailer that sits on a shelf somewhere.
Bravo. Hey, bravo.
But yeah, I'm very eager for this season to come to an end. There's so much that isn't going to make the 2 episodes for Freeport. And I know Sierra's dying to talk about it because every time we go somewhere and someone asks her about Freeport, I'm like, don't spoil the episode.
I'm dying to let her talk about
anything.
Oh,
so, but once that first episode comes out, and then she's good. She can talk.
I think maybe Sierra ought to come on to Double T with me when we talk about that episode.
Oh, I'd have to look at the schedule. I'll let you know.
She said, I just want to tell everybody.
Well, I think you should come on to...
I think that's the last one.
Yep, I think you should come on in the end of October with me, and Double T can meet you, and you and I can spill the beans on what they're going to see.
Well, and you can just talk about it, too.
Yeah.
Talk about the location.
There you go, Sierra.
So...
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing the stuff and watching, and I wish nothing but the best for you guys. I really hope it takes off, and I hope you guys, you know what I mean? Like, I hope everybody enjoys it, especially with now you're doing it to where you can put it out across, a span of time. People will be waiting and, oh, I can't wait for the next episode. I can't wait for this. I can't wait.
Well,
it's a good thing.
The bad thing about Larry and Dan is, as full as the plate is, it never seems to be enough.
Right.
And we already have other projects on the board. So,
yeah. That's awesome.
We'll see
then
what
you're
becomes.
Gonna have to come on again, and we'll have to talk about new projects.
Well, we have some things for season 4 that if they work out the way that I want them to, we're gonna have our biggest guest investigator that we've ever had on the show.
Awesome.
Yes.
And we're talking big network big.
Yeah.
So like the TV channel that goes across the country big.
Awesome.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, no, that'll be really, really good.
Very excited. I'm excited for our friends Mike and Nate from We Are Paranormal being able to do the right there. Larry's repping them.
I'm repping us too.
Mike and Nathan Hopwood.
Yes.
Yeah, I love those guys.
And then Nikki Wilson too.
Right. And they were able to investigate with Nick and Aaron G from 28 Days Haunted.
Yeah, those guys are fantastic.
And those guys are awesome. I mean,
fantastic.
Larry and I have met them, and hung out with them several times, and you just don't see, they get so many people coming up and, can we do a selfie? Can we do it? There's no selfies of us together because we're just hanging out and talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a selfie with Nick though. I don't know if I can show it. Look at that animal. Look at him. He's just a big old goose.
Nick's an animal.
He's just a big old
He's awesome.
goose.
They're both awesome guys. I mean, they're very down to earth, just awesome guys.
Yeah.
Paige just got one of Aaron G's rings, and I'm getting mine, I think, this weekend.
I need to drop a bug in his ear because I got to get one for my daughter. And actually, Bill is going to give him.
Watching now. Mike Ming, he just jumped on.
Oh, hey, Mike.
Oh, did he? I don't see him in the chat.
See, I can only see certain chat.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Mike.
So, I'm going to use some of the brick from Brodhead and have one made for my daughter. So.
That'd be something you should just message him directly about. When I talked to him, there was a whole process.
Yeah, just drop the bug in his ear that I'll be getting to him with it.
Yeah, I'll tell him this weekend.
Yeah. So
that's awesome when you meet people, that you kind of not look up to, but maybe respect and this and that. And then when you meet them and they're down to earth, they're awesome.
My favorite thing is when I meet someone and it's just like, hey dude, what's up?
Yeah.
Me? Like they're just normal people.
Yep.
Speaking of Mike, he's in chat right now. One of the best experiences we've ever had was with Mike and Chris.
Oh.
And and of course none of us were filming because we're just hanging out, being buddies, showing Mike and Chris all these cool places that Larry and I've been to. And he says I'm here with Aaron G right now. What's up, Aaron G?
Oh, there's Nate.
Hey, there's Nate. What's up,
Nate?
brother?
What's going on?
So anyway,
Aaron, Dan's going to be contacting you soon for a ring. Apparently.
I'm going to be contacting you too soon, Aaron. We talked about it, but I'm going to actually find the time and contact you. Anyway, we're at the cemetery, and it's a cemetery that we did, Maple Cemetery, and the particular place we were at is in our episode.
Wild cemetery.
And we set out this K2 meter, and we're asking questions. Well, we're starting to get little hits and stuff. And, we always get hits right there, but nothing spectacular. So the more we start asking, the better the hits are becoming.
Yeah.
And now it's lighting up red a good majority of the time when we're asking something. And all of a sudden, all 4 of us heard it, saw it. The K2 meter moved 2 inches. It didn't tip. It didn't slide. It literally went 2 inches.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah.
And
the one guy whose job is to film everything wasn't
filming anything.
Oh, look at that.
all I know is Mike and I looked at each other and went, "Holy shit! Did that just happen?"
Wow,
But it's a cool story now.
One of the coolest experiences ever, and we got to experience it with some really cool guys.
Who cares if you didn't get it on record?
I can.
No, because we can talk about it, and that was
my
awesome.
job.
I
That's what I
just
do.
that was
No, I
one of
know,
the-
but you know what though? That's when, like, when it happens. It happened to me. I had 3 cameras around my neck, and I look over and I see this shadow thing going in and out of bushes, and I'm like,
and you're
oh
not
my
running
God.
one of them.
you know, I'm like,
None of them
And
are running.
they're all
not
pointing
one.
down, looking at your feet.
Yeah, none of them. I didn't grab a one. I was just watching, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? You know, and yeah, I have that. I have that memory. You know, I have the picture, but I don't have the picture.
Right.
You know, you just, and for me, it's more I want to share it. You know, I'm not trying to prove it. I just want to share it with people. Like, look what I saw. I saw this.
Love you, brothers. Nate says
gents.
we love.
That was amazing.
Love you, brothers.
Yeah.
You want me to share a couple pictures with you?
Yeah.
I can share a couple here.
I only have one.
Oh wait, no, I can't because it only lets me do video files.
You can't show them Captain Adams.
Actually, I think I can share screen. Let me pull up Captain Adams and I'll try to do a screen share.
I have one apparition photo in all of my years investigating. I have one.
How do I full screen this? Okay, I'm gonna
Larry and I have a few, but this is one of our favorites because it's Captain Adams.
And it's this one. Okay.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Do it.
Was that taken with a full spectrum camera?
It was.
Wow.
So this is from the site that Dan was talking about earlier. It's from the Battle of Stillman Run, and
which is surrounded by a residential area, by the way, i.e. the houses.
Right. But it's a very long story, but there, according to the history, there was 2 gentlemen that were beheaded on this site, but only one of them would have had military grooming standards because he was an officer.
And that would have been Captain Adams.
Captain John Giles Adams.
Let me see if I can. Hold on. Can I make that bigger? Wow.
I can zoom in, but it starts getting pixelated.
I see it though.
Like it gets
see the face?
Yes.
Go around it with your.
Yeah,
there
I
you
see
go.
it. Yep.
So you got a heavy brow line here at the top of the hand, I guess. The nose, the forehead, a little bit of hair here. Mustache.
The mustache.
You saw the picture? Looks like him.
There are no pictures of him.
There are no pictures of Captain Adams.
Not at all. I've been digging forever and have never found one.
Wyatt Earp. Kind of looks like Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a cool picture.
So there's that one, and then you guys are gonna see my disgusting mess of files here.
Do you want me to unshare it while you're looking?
Nah. Here's another good one. So this is the top of the screen here. This is Maple Cemetery where the K2 slid. We see all this here?
Yeah.
That's not a camera strap.
Oh.
And if you look up here, you can see the leaves through the black smoke.
You wouldn't see that through a camera strap.
See all that here?
So the story behind that, Taryn, is we were walking back. Larry and I had been at Maple for about 3.5 hours. We're walking back to the car, and pointed out, Larry, in the crook of the tree right there was a shadow figure up on its legs, holding on to the branch, looking at me. And I went, holy shit, Larry. And I pulled up the camera, and that's what we got.
Yeah.
Wow.
So one of those times where he snapped that picture even after he saw it, and all this black fog, smoke, mist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Appeared there.
That's awesome.
Let's see what else I got. I can do another quick one probably. Oh, this is a good one.
Oh, yeah.
This was a super tiny one.
Oh.
2 little kids walking through that cemetery.
I see.
Go ahead and share the cool fact about this particular spot.
So my real good friend Sarah has a cadaver dog, and cadaver dogs can smell human remains 1,500 years old, believe it or not. In this cemetery where that picture, where those kids are standing, Rika hit on a cadaver buried there.
Oh, wow.
right in that spot.
That's interesting.
So you've got one here, which
Yep.
kind of looks like a big poofy shoulder and a dress, and then maybe a little girl's hat, and then some kind of longish hair. But there's
Walking
also
a younger
one here.
child. It almost looks like she's got her arm around the other one. And they're just walking through the woods.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Or they're
So-
looking like, or maybe there's, do you think maybe they can be stationary and like looking down at?
She looks like she's looking down.
Yeah, she
they look
does.
like they're looking down at something, or maybe,
Yeah.
and if that's where maybe one of them is buried, or the person that was buried there, maybe they
Could
knew
be.
that person.
It could be a parent. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were
Um,
visiting the grave.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
This is definitely one we should try to go back to, Dan.
Good catch.
Larry, show the
Um,
one of the guy peeking around the gravestone. It's right up there on the. Yeah.
Go away.
I see it.
This is probably the oldest photo that I have.
Oh, I see it.
And this was probably taken with like a 2 megapixel camera.
No,
But,
it was a 10.
I know. But it's hard to tell, but this is the base of the stone. Oh, our cameras are covering it. The base of the stone way at the bottom.
Go back to the.
Oh, yeah, there we go. See right here, the base of the stone?
Yeah.
That's actually about 1.5 feet or 2 feet off the ground.
Oh.
But from the base of the stone to about here is give or take 5.5 to 6 feet.
Yeah.
So he would have to be, if that was a person
Standing on the base.
standing
On the base, and
Right.
about maybe 5'10" give or take.
So, Larry, you had the original picture right next to it. Pull
Yeah.
that one and show that. Yeah. There it is.
I do.
That's the original picture.
So yeah, you got about a foot and 1.5 feet ish, and then right there.
So zoom in really quick. Now, is that could that be, is that snow or anything on the other side? Like,
Yeah.
is that a hand?
This,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
there.
that's snow.
I think that's snow. Yeah.
I think that's snow.
Is it
But
snow?
there were no footprints in that snow.
Well, here, that's interesting because this is what I'm saying. If it was a person, if you're standing up on a base like that, you'd have to be holding on to.
You got to
the
be holding on
marker.
to something.
Yeah.
You'd have to be holding on.
If it were me, I'd be holding on down here.
Right. You'd have to
Right.
hold on to something
So-
somewhere. You would see arms. You would see
Right.
something. You would see an elbow. You would see a hand. You would see something if there was,
Something.
and you'd have to be holding on to it.
Right.
Hey, Larry, because you talked about the vet's hall, show him that one. There it is.
Oh. Wow.
So this is a display case with, I don't remember what war this is, but these are helmets and different items.
Yeah.
Display case here. This is the railing. This is the, I don't know what you'd call that, a half wall, pony wall
Yeah.
that goes down the stairs. There's another one here on the other
Yeah.
side. You can see it.
Right.
Yep.
And they're on the opposite side of this wall, peeking around the case.
Mhm.
But the light is coming from this direction.
Right.
So if this were a person, they'd more than likely have a shadow here.
Shadow there.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they don't.
Right.
That
Yeah,
was a shadow
because-
figure.
And
Because-
this was full spectrum as well. So if there was a person, you'd get some detail here.
Yeah, you know why? Because look, if you look, the shadow of that wall, a half wall, is the corner of it is down lower.
Down there.
Right.
You would
You would've-
see it.
Which this shadow we don't think is coming from him because there's something up here.
Yeah,
But
it's
we
the
think he's
other.
not
It's the
shadow.
other wall that's
It's-
catching
Right.
it.
There's like a big thing here.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it in the picture, but there's one on this side too.
There's one on
No.
that side too.
Not only that, but the case is in front. Looks like there's stuff in the case too that might not the
Yep.
helmets, but
Yeah.
that
I don't know what this is.
yeah, there's a case. The case is, I feel like part of that is part of the case. That shadow is part of that case there.
Potentially. This could be an arm. I'm not 100% sure.
Mhm.
You know, it's a little long and away from the body, but who knows, But this is the weird part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is odd.
Just a
And-
head and a shoulder.
Well, and here's the thing too. It's a dark shadow. So would it
Yes.
really reflect if it's already a shadow?
Right.
If it were a person, it would.
Right.
But as a shadow, no.
Right. So that's
No.
interesting because that's not a shadow. That's in fact darker than the shadows that are there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So if it was a shadow of something, it would be light like the rest of the shadows.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Let's
it's
see what else I can
not.
whip up here.
Interesting.
I
have one-
this is the original Captain Adams picture.
Oh,
That's
And
my
then there he is
daughter.
right there.
He's over there.
That's him.
oh, wow.
Just hanging out, chilling.
Can you zoom in on it? I mean, I'm just curious. I want to see.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That's cool. That's
There he is.
That's a good shot.
Some of these ones are a little on the harder side to see. Let's do this one, I guess. This one I kind of got it. You got something.
Yeah.
Something there.
That's at the Egyptian.
The Egyptian theater around the spot where a man named Irv had passed away. This is supposedly
not far
his
from
aisle.
there. Yeah.
One of these seats, I don't remember which side it is. It's one of these seats around here is where he passed.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was a benefactor of the theater. His wife continued on afterwards. And this is where he's seen approximately in this area. And we got
Something.
I don't know what it is. Maybe he's partially materialized. I mean, you can kind of see a head here. And then it just kind of is in a...
It's like he's wearing a snowsuit.
Yeah, he's like a blob.
Yeah. Wow.
But that one's pretty neat. Oh, this is a good one. You see the legs here?
That is a good thing. That is
This is the body all the way up to here, leaning forward on the stone.
Interesting.
But you can only see the bottom of them.
Yeah, there's no head or anything.
No top
It's just-
half.
Well, there's the arms right here and the torso, but the
Yeah.
legs are most obvious because of the snow.
Yeah.
I mean, you can almost see like the boots and the pants being
Yeah.
bloused right
Oh
there
yeah.
And again on the base.
on the base.
That's interesting.
On
Larry,
the base.
where's the one that we took over at Fairview? The series of 3.
You got to give me
Go-
more than that.
Go back.
Which one's Fairview?
The one that looks like the monk walking through the cemetery.
Oh, I don't know if I have that one. I got this one. We can show them this one.
Yeah.
I like this one a lot. This one's on my phone. All right, so look at this bow in the branch here, right?
Uh-huh.
There's nothing here.
Right.
These were shot at the same time.
This is the full spectrum camera.
Right.
The image
That's
next
the
to
video
it,
camera.
this is the video camera. The image next to it is the picture camera.
Okay.
So bow in the branch here, right?
Right.
Oh, well, that's not what I wanted to do, but
There's the same bow.
there's the same bow.
Oh my
But
gosh.
there's a dude there.
But you
Yeah,
can see
look
the bend in the legs.
Yeah, like he's walking.
It's kind of baggy, like overalls or pants,
Yep.
and then a torso, right?
Yes.
So, in trying to figure out what this is, along this tree line here on the right side is a fence to the cemetery. And along that fence are a bunch of field boulders.
Oh.
So it
looks
almost
like a
looks like,
farmer carrying a boulder.
or he's kind of bending down to chuck it.
Yeah.
And I
It's
maybe
solid.
he's got a weirdly long torso. I have no idea, but
That's
yeah, again, at the
solid.
same time, there was nothing here in the field,
And that's interesting because that's a full spectrum camera.
right?
Yep. I was shooting video while my brother-in-law was shooting the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And we were able to track back on the video where he says, "Hey, I caught something here,"
Right.
and freeze it at the same time.
That's
Well,
insane.
It was really interesting because if you see how much brighter this is,
Yeah.
it's because his brother-in-law had the flash on.
Oh.
Yep.
So right when the flash went off, I could then find the picture and line it up and say, this is the exact moment this happened.
Wow. That
And we got that dude.
and that's like solid.
Oh yeah,
Very
yeah. He
solid.
looks like a guy. I mean, it's
Yeah.
definitely a guy.
I
But
mean,
you know it's not
if he
because
had
you
his
have to-
arms all the way up, he very well could look just like that.
Yeah.
This
With the elongated
cemetery,
torso.
this cemetery, Taryn, is in the middle of nowhere. The nearest house is like a mile away.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Which, these farm fields wrap all the way around the cemetery too.
Oh yeah,
So it's
for-
in the middle of nowhere.
yeah.
Right.
What did you want now? You wanted the series of 3. This one?
No, it was the one that my brother and I had shot down in DeKalb.
I don't know
I don't
if
know
I
if you have it on
have
there.
that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Okay.
Oh well, no biggie.
Maybe not. But those are my favorite ones to share.
That's awesome.
We shared more than we thought we were gonna.
Well, it's okay. I have fun
What the
with it.
hell?
But
Ooh.
I got
Okay,
my.
I got
Ooh,
one
good.
more. Hold on.
Okay,
I
awesome.
got one
No.
more.
Oh wait, add. Why am I? There we go. Oh wow.
So what we see is a head, an arm,
Yeah.
with his back against this smaller stone here,
Yeah.
and it looks like
He's
they're
reading a
reading a
book.
book.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Looks like they're just sitting on the ground
like a
reading a
little
book.
kid sitting there reading a book in the cemetery.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
So
you and I were together when we caught that one. Remember?
sure were, yeah. And
Yeah.
and you know, it's human sized. If you compare the size of the stone here,
Yeah.
it's about human sized.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Potentially maybe a teenager or something.
Yeah.
But that's all I got.
But you know what though? I mean, oopsie. Hold on. There we go.
I mean,
You never know. We really don't 100% know what we are going to look like if somebody were to take a picture of us while we're a ghost
No.
or
Right.
lack of them or whatever, you know. Like,
I wasn't even aware that they had ghost books. I don't know. Maybe he was buried with it. Maybe that comes across. I have no clue. Remember, the ancient civilizations buried a lot of things with you so you could have it in the afterlife.
yeah,
There are hundreds and hundreds of cases of them knowing way more than we know.
absolutely true.
So maybe that's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we say it all the time. I say it all the time. It goes back, rituals after people die and things that they do to make sure they go to heaven or make sure they stay here or make sure they have this and have that. I mean, this has been going on for millions of hundreds and thousands of years, no matter what. You know, we're not the first ones to do it. You see the hieroglyphics, you see the, you know what I mean? So who knows?
Yeah. Dan, when you pass, I'm going to make sure that your dowsing rods have a full battery and I'm going to bury them with you. And then when I'm investigating, I want to see these blue tubes come out of nowhere and then just start doing this.
When I pass, you're never going to get another night's sleep.
Oh.
Well, guys, I am so sorry, but I got to duck out.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So,
yeah, I'll let you guys go.
Karen, thank you so much for having us. Well, you and Larry can keep chatting. It's just I got something pressing that I should have taken care of 40 minutes ago. So,
okay.
But thank you so much for having us, guys. It was great seeing you all.
Thank
Wes,
you.
hit me up. Got a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
See you guys. Thanks for having us, Karen.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
The one thing
we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. I was gonna say the one thing. Now I forget what I was gonna say. That's my ADD. I don't know. I think the pictures were awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Thanks for coming on. I mean, I
had so much fun.
I did too, and I really do hope it put Dan in a better mood.
He had a really tough day at work and whatnot, and I'm like, hey, by the way, we have to be on that stream in 30 minutes, and he's like, oh, I forgot. I'm like, yeah, don't worry, you got 30 minutes. So
yeah, no, I appreciate it. I know it. I love. I mean, without you guys, I don't have my show. So you know, it's. I appreciate you guys so much and everything.
Well, we appreciate you because it shows like yours that get us out there.
Yeah.
You know, we can only do so much. You have your own built-in community that you share us to, and some of them go, hey, these guys are kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like Dan, but Dan's apparently going to talk with Wes now.
Right.
So,
and then you have a Jing from Indonesia that's going to follow you guys and share your stuff out to Indonesia. And, you know, so that's my whole goal, you know, and, you know, that's why I have the guests on that I have on because, you know, I really appreciate everything you guys do. And, you know, it's a positive thing in the field instead of, you know, the opposite. So I thank you so much.
I thank you. Well, I guess I'll speak for Dan in this case. We thank you.
Awesome. Well, I will talk to you soon, dear.
Yes.
I was going to say, you guys should look up going to the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash.
Our agent is in the process of seeing if they'll have us speak.
Awesome.
So fingers crossed. I want to go. And if it works out, you know, we'll be there taking selfies.
Yeah.
For sure.
And you'll be in Gettysburg. And if you want a personal guide tour to all the paranormal not hotspots, so you're not bumping into other paranormal investigators,
Yeah.
I will be glad to show you around.
Sold.
So hopefully you get to go there. I don't miss it.
I hope so.
But, all right. I will let you go. Thank you so much for joining me, Larry. I will be in touch. You keep in touch. And hopefully I can't wait to watch season 3. And I can't wait for season 4 and all that good stuff.
I'm excited.
Awesome.
I can't wait.
You have a good night, sir.
You too. Good night. Good night, everybody.
All right, that was awesome. Those guys are great. I love them. Make sure you tune in next week. I want to say this really quick. I have a huge announcement. Me, Danger Close, and April Brusette, we are working on something that will be coming out just before Halloween. It's not a show. It isn't a YouTube documentary. It's nothing like that. It's something very special. And I hope you guys join us to find out what that is, because we will be revealing it on October 11th. That is my next show, and I'm looking forward to it. It is a special announcement, and we've tried to keep this on the hush-hush as much as possible while we are working on this. And, there are a select few that know about it, but October 11th will be the special announcement for it. I'm excited. I'm very excited. So I hope you guys join me for that next week. Thank you for joining me tonight. And as always, I love y'all. And keep brewing. Oh, gotta see you guys next week.